Buonasera. Buonasera. Hello, Limpy. How are you, sir?
Another Tuesday at the murder table.
It's another Tip on Tuesday at the murder table.
Happy to be here.
Good. It's better than being at work. All right, we got something special tonight, I think. I hope. We've had Bulleit. We've had Bulleit Bourbon. We've had Bulleit 12-year-old Bourbon. We've had Bulleit Rye. Well, now we have Bulleit 12-year-old Rye.
Sounds pretty good. Not a big fan of rye because of the sharpness. Maybe the 12 years has rounded it a bit for me.
I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Let me see what they have to say about this one. Bulleit 12-year-old Rye is a pleasantly dry, bold rye that possesses notes of dried orchard fruits with a hint of baking spice and oak on the nose. At 92 proof, 46% ABV, this latest Bulleit release has a clean, crisp palate with flavors of dried pear, light toffee, and oak with a hint of graham cracker spice. The finish is enjoyable with light wood and spice notes. Sounds delightful.
Well, sounds good to me.
It does sound good. Let's pour. So what you been up to? Been drinking anything good? Hoping we're going to be drinking something good now?
I finished some things to make room for some others.
Was this the mandate from Benita?
Well, I went and I went to Sam's for his barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Spears.
When I go to Mr. Spears' barbecue, I wanted to go and buy a little gift, not for him because he's got a lot of whiskey, so I got a bottle of wine for his wife. And while I was in the store, I may have accidentally bought a couple things for myself, which I had to hide around the house, and now I can bring them in from the cold.
Let me just say, my 15-year-old likes to say things happened on accident. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know how my hands wound up around his throat. I don't know. It was an accident.
I went to go see our friends around the corner, and he gave me my friend, let me tell you what I have for you.
And then you had to buy.
I had to buy.
That's because you're a gentleman. You're a gentleman, sir.
Cheers.
Let's go in.
Like the color.
I like it too. It's very pretty.
The color.
It's amber, but it's got a little bit of auburn highlights.
I'm going clover honey.
It's
nice honey color.
What was that? What was the actress in L.A. Confidential? Remember they had the Veronica Lake. Who was the redhead back in the day?
It was
Rita Hayworth.
Rita Hayworth. Yeah.
Yes, it's a little Rita Hayworth.
Lana Turner. Veronica Lake.
Yeah, it's all those. It looks good. It looks very nice. Ooh, that smells really good.
A lot of vapors for it being, and I say only 46%. A lot of vapors, but beyond that, a lot of nice rounded notes.
I get what they're saying. I mean, there's some sweetness. There's that nice like a dark sugar. I can see where they're coming from with the fruit. Almost
a little bit of the oak.
Yeah, a little bit woody. Little cherries maybe. Like the cherries in it, like the maraschino cherries, like that kind of smell. Little baking spice. Little peppery note, perhaps. Are
we going to drink it or bake it? What are we doing here?
Why don't we
mixing it?
That reminds me of another movie. Did you ever see Raw Deal with Schwarzenegger?
It's another movie.
In the beginning of Raw Deal, when he gets into a fight with his wife and she throws a cake at him. You shouldn't drink and bake. I love that scene. I'm gonna have to find it.
Good advice.
That's another story, which reminds me of the time that I tried to make a bolognese, and the rock was over, and we had a Glenfiddich tasting. Yeah, that wasn't good. We thought it was fantastic. Guess what? It was not fantastic.
It was not fantastic?
It was not fantastic.
The Glenfiddich or the bolognese?
Oh, no. The Glenfiddich was awesome. And the bolognese was great with the Glenfiddich. But the next day, not so much.
not so much. I wouldn't have already.
No. Okay. And?
It's hot.
It is hot. Very fiery at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very fiery at the start. Very dry, too.
Medium mouthfeel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not too heavy, not too light. Maybe a tiny bit of oiliness.
Looked a little more viscous on the glass than the chewiness.
You know what, though? Take it slow. Let it sit there for a little while and just kind of, burn a hole in the top of your tongue. And then see what happens.
I'm not able to talk.
Some would say that's probably that's not a bad thing if we can't talk anymore.
I think it has the heat, the sharpness, the bite
there's
of a rye, but it rounds it out with the age, so there's a little bit more complexity to it, a little more depth.
There's some sweetness too.
Yeah.
There's some sweetness. It's not just because I like the regular Bulleit for cocktails and stuff, and it's a nice drinking whiskey. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's MGP, which is they make a solid whiskey. Love it or leave it, they make a great whiskey.
They've been doing it for a long time.
Yes, they have. But What's nice with this, you get the herbal notes, but then you get a little bit of like brown sugar, and you get a little bit of sweetness there, like almost like, like on a bourbon.
A bourbon-esque.
But it's not, I don't think, as oaky as a bourbon would get. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it gets really, really oaky and really, really dry.
Yeah, I think if you did too much of that, it would take away the rye characteristics.
Yeah.
You've kind of made a bourbon, as opposed to keeping it as a rye. And this is mash bill's 95% rye. So
95 rye. What's the other 5%? Barley? I think it's barley.
95 and 5 is a mystery.
Mm.
Mashed potatoes, not really sure.
Oh, I see. I talk about food and it's a problem. Where's my mash? Where's the mashed potatoes?
Mashed.
I could
Hash browns.
Gravy.
Hash
Oh,
browns.
how about a hot brown?
Hot brown.
Hot brown?
Hot brown. Enough about that. Awfully good.
But this, again, I think it has a little more sweet. I wish we had the regular Bulleit to compare and contrast, but it seems to have a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
And we don't really know how old the other Bulleit is. I don't think there's an age statement on that, is there?
No. Nothing close to age statement.
No.
I'm going to guess that's probably...
But that's pretty good. And I think the ABV is just right, too. It's got just enough heat.
I think if you went higher with the ABV, it'd probably be too spicy, too hot.
Maybe.
Then the vapors would kick in more.
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't appreciate something that begins with a 5,
no.
but I think they probably have this where it should be to start.
Right.
Again, if you aged it longer, maybe it'd increase the ABV more.
Yeah.
But for what it is now, this 12 years is good.
It's good. Now, I think it's... I don't want to put a value judgment on it because, I mean, everything's kind of pricey now. But I think they said it's $50 a bottle is the suggested retail price.
I think.
So, I don't know.
You get anything for 12 years?
Right.
Bottles of 12-year-old anything can you get for 50 or under.
Yeah, I mean, like the Pikesville I have is like 55.
Yeah.
That's also 110 proof. But there's no age statement on that. That's a lot richer of a whiskey, but it's also, it's what, 30% more powerful. So it's got a little bit more depth to it. Or heat. Heat will be the word.
And you probably had to add the ABV because you didn't have the barrel aging to give it as much depth.
So, anyway, in conclusion, I like it.
Good.
I think it's pretty good.
It's good. Not a big fan of rye, but I could be a fan of this.
I think it's the sweetness that just kind of helps with this one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because you get that little bit on the back end, you get that little bit of brown sugar. There's the cinnamon, there's all the other stuff, but overall, it's very nice. So anyway, it's a winner. I give it a B+.
Yeah, I'd say 88.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So thank you to the fine folks at Taylor Strategy for sending this along, and cheers.
Cheers. Thanks.